So, Dave, in the first segment, we were talking about the latest study about CTE. That is a degenerative brain disease that a researcher from Boston University School of Medicine found in almost 99% of the brains donated by families of former NFL players and 87% of the brains of players of other football levels, college, high school, as they were older. And we were just talking about the I wouldn't call it a mass exodus, but the surprising, increasingly large rate of exodus from the NFL by players who can walk away because of these results. You had one more thing to add before we talk about Los Angeles being awarded the 2028 Olympics.
Well, just that these studies are also polarizing people in the NFL, as some players are retiring or expressing deep misgivings about continuing their career. And then you've heard comments from other players saying, hey, this is my life. If I have to die on this field, then so be it. And that's disturbing in and of itself, because these players are role models. There are young people who want to replicate them and make it to the National Football League. And I think that's the last thing that particularly young prospective football players need to be hearing right now.
Yeah, I think they call that the dilemma of sunk cost, or good money after bad in poker.
Like joining the Trump administration.
Yeah, indeed. All right, well, let's turn our attention to another thing that I know that you have written about, not specifically in terms of Los Angeles, but extensively when it comes to Brazil. Your book, Dance with the Devil, I think part of that was about the Olympics as well, and you wrote about Sochi. Los Angeles was celebrating the awarding of the 2028 Olympics. And from your perspective, and I think many people's perspective, this is the last thing you want to celebrate.
No, absolutely. And that's also true in Los Angeles, where the cheers of L.A. being the prospective host city for the 2028 Summer Games is also being met by protests. I mean, Los Angeles right now is in the middle of an affordable housing crisis. Los Angeles has the highest rate of unhoused or chronically homeless people in the country. It has more people living in poverty than any major city in the country. And the Olympics is an aggravator of all of these trends. It's an aggravator against affordable housing. It's an aggravator of displacements. And all of the things that Mayor Eric Garcetti said, celebrating the Olympics coming in 2028, when, by the way, he'll be out of office and won't have to deal with the political fallout. All the things you're saying are things I've been covering the Olympics since 2004. I have heard mayors in cities from Athens to London to Rio make these same speeches about how it's going to improve infrastructure, about how the city is going to be better, about how it's going to revamp the transit system, really using the Olympics as a substitute for anything resembling an actual urban policy, when the results are really more of a looting process of the city and the leaving behind of structures and stadiums that otherwise have no real use value for the community. And at best, all it creates is tens of thousands of low-income temporary jobs that then disappear when the Olympics are gone. I know that Eric Garcetti was already having his mission accomplished moment with these Olympics, but there still has to be a city council vote that they're trying to push through next week, which is, by the way, kind of shocking, given that the Olympics are 11 years away.
Yeah.
They just were awarded it, and they want this vote within a week for the city council to look over this entire complicated multi-billion-dollar agreement and rubber stamp it. But if I was in the people of Los Angeles, I would be afraid right now. I would not be welcoming the games.
And I would be, at the very least, demanding that the council take its time. But I guess that's the sort of the leverage. All right, well, let me ask you this. I mean, we just have a minute and a half left here. But is there a place that exists where an Olympics should take place? I mean, is there geographically? Is there a city? Is there a rural area? I mean, where should the Olympics be held?
Yeah, in the current world, the answer to that question is no. There is no place. Now, if the Olympics wanted to take up as a model having the games in, say, a series of 3 rotating cities, then yes, there would be a place, because then the facilities that would be built and produced could continuously be upgraded, and the
Right.
jobs would be consistent as well. But as long as you're rotating cities around the world for these games, you're going to end up with these same problems.
The one-off model ends up displacing people and providing no long-term economic benefit for anybody. Well, not for anybody. There's obviously a lot of benefit, but I would imagine at a very high level capital investment, quick return type of level.
Exactly.
And so there's, I mean, that would be an interesting thing to do, and I guess it would just be a matter of I guess the Olympic leaders deciding we're going to make this less competitive in terms of where we house these things and focus on the competition being about the athletics, so that really, I guess, middle class and poor people don't have to pay for this 3 or 4 week, month and a half, celebration.
Exactly. Very well put.
Well, I will maybe I will start my letter writing campaign. And people in Los Angeles, if you want to understand what can happen to a city and what's involved with it, I would recommend Googling the name Dave Zirin and Olympics, and you will see what he has written from past Olympics and the implications of them in their city.